Hi guys, I've had a few requests for tutorials on my other channel, so I thought, hey, I'll just do one here. Seems easy enough. So this is Construct 2, and today we're going to be making a very simple Pong game. Okay, it's just going to be one player. We could make it two player, who knows. For now, let's make it one player. Anyway, what we do, to start off, you load up Construct. This is currently the beta version, but they're all pretty much the same, so hopefully you'll be able to run on this as well. So you just click the symbol at the top left, new. I always start with a new empty project. You do have quite a few different templates to go through, which give you examples on how to make certain games, such as like there's an Angry Birds example somewhere in here. Who knows? Anyway, let's start off with a new empty project anyway. Okay, so what I tend to do is set my games up at 1280 by 720, which is kind of like low HD, which doesn't really make sense. Low high definition, and yeah, so what we need to do is go into this mode where we've got layout size. So you can click on New Project, okay, and you type in, so it's 1280 by 720, and you'll see what happens here. This dotted outline has gotten bigger, okay, but still the project's a little bit larger, so that will be the layout. Click on that and you can see it's 1280 by 1024. Just quickly change that to 720 and you're done. Nice and easy, hey? So I've already got some sprites and so forth already prepared, so let me just quickly open those. What you do to start off, notice the layer tab at the right. If you don't have that, you should be able to add that somehow. Who knows how? Here we go. Yeah, it is here. Right, so we've got our layers bar and so forth. So we've got all these here. You just tick them if they're not appearing for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is double click, and we've got our sprite icon. These are all the different objects which we can load in to our projects, but what we're looking for is the sprite. So I'm going to double click on that to click anywhere on the screen. Click on the open icon at the top. Now we scroll to, oh, we're already in there, projects, games, and where is it? Pong. There we go. We've got our sprites and we've got our background, wood table. Okay, so we just plonk that down. It's quite a big sprite because this is originally designed for an iPad. So let's see how well this transitions into what we've set up here. It is massive. See if we can scale this down slightly. So here we go. Some people may want to use snap to grid, show grid, just in case it becomes a little bit easier. And there we go. It's not perfect because you know, it's designed for an iPad, like I said, but at least we've got, I don't know, a pretty decent looking screen now. Let's turn off the. Let's not show the grid for now. So there we go. Doesn't look bad. So what I like to do is name these layers as I go along. So this is the background, and I want that locked because I don't want to keep touching it. So you just click on the little padlock, or you can click up here with the layer selected. Now I can't, oh, what am I doing? Now I can't click on this or select it because it's locked. Sure, what I want to do then is open up, I've got another sprite in here. Oh, I've put this on the background layer, I don't want to do that. There we go. Let's click on, let's create another one called boundaries. Okay. And then what I like to do is just use the standard, you know, paint tool. Sorry if I am going fast, but there is a pause button for you if you ever need it. So I'm just going to quickly drop that in. So we've got a nice big red shape. These are going to be our boundaries, our edges. Okay, some might be a good idea to turn off snap to grid for now. Also, what you can do, you can click on a single item and change the opacity to 50, let's say. But then if you copy, so I've clicked on it, right click on it, copy, and then right click, paste, put that down. See, we've got this overlap where it becomes thicker. Now, say I don't want that. What I can do is click on this sprite. This is just a quick handy hint. If you click on that, it selects all the objects in the screen so you can move it all together. Then let's change the opacity back to 100 so it changes all of them. Now what I can do is click on this boundaries layer and change everything on that layer to 50%. Now see how they're blending in nicely? So yeah, what I'm going to do is position these here, drag this across, drop it here, and there we go. That gives us our boundary, copied, pasted, using Control-C, Control-V on the keyboard. We've got this one here as well. Let's drop that down. Copy, that's Control-C, Control-V again. There we go. Right, now what I can do is just name this. Good idea to name things as they go along. So this is objects. Okay, drop that down as well. Now, you can hold down the Control key and roll the mouse in, and it does a zoom in for you. What I'm looking to do is line this up like that. By the way, I should point out that there's probably easier ways to do some other things, which I'm going to show you, because there's quite a few different ways to do many different things in Construct, which is clever. So even if you're a bit stupid like me, you can still usually figure out a way to do it. There's a really helpful forum on for users of Construct 2. So yeah, usually you just go on there and say, hey, I've been doing it a really silly way, and then someone else comes along and goes, ah, you can do it with this, with one line, and it's incredible. But yeah, so who knows, maybe I'll see you on there. What am I doing now? Right, so now we've got here, what I can do is click on this, and we'll call this one balls. Now, you don't have to have different layers for all the different things. The more layers you have, I've found that it seems to slow down the game a little bit. But, you know, you can figure that out on your own. What I can do, let's start off with a standard ball. Okay, so white ball. See, it's quite large. We don't want it that large. So you click on the resize icon. Change that to 50. Let's say 50. Let's try 50. 50 by 50. Plonk that down. There we go. It's not bad at all, is it? Now, what's half of 1280? Is it 640 by 360? Is that right? Yeah, it looks close enough. So what I'm going to do is quickly give this one a new behavior. So you click on the object. Let's call this ball, actually. Ball. Actually, thinking about it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do that again. Load all these different colours in. Delete that one. Put that one to the front. So yeah, I've just right-clicked, clicked Import Frames, and we've got all different colours. Okay, so I just need to remember that 1 is blue, 2 is green, blah, 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 blah. So now what I can do is click on this and change the... So we've got all these different frames. So basically, if I was to right-click this and say Preview, it would just flash all the colours. Now, I don't want it to do that. What I want it to do is, you know, not have any speed. So this way I can flick to different objects if I need to. Okay, and I will scale this down now. No, I won't. I'll leave it as it is. And here I'll scale it down here. So 50 by 50, just so then we keep some you know, resolution. So that should be in the center. Let's have this one appear and call this, you'll understand in a bit, skull. Okay, and I'm going to quickly load up another object, another sprite, and it's going to be the skull, which I've got set up. Now, I keep doing this silly ways, so here we go. Got all our objects, all our frames, sorry. Now, if you preview that, he comes up, spins around, nice and slow motion, and then just sits there. Okay, now, what I want to do is increase that speed slightly, because that was a little bit too slow. So what I'm going to do now is change this to maybe 30. Preview that, see how that looks. Yeah, much better. Okay, now this is going to be the let's see, opening. Let's also create a add animation, just call this still. Let's call it flat. Flat opening. What I should have done earlier is duplicated it, but I mean, simple enough to solve. There we go. Let's also add another animation called opened. Again, you don't have to do this, but I tend to, find things a little bit easier. But again, it may slow down your animation again. Now, I could just reverse this, set the speed to minus, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to duplicate it and say closing. Double click that, and I'll just set the, I'll just go through tedious action now. Oh, I'm confusing myself. Let's not do that. Let's oh, I could just do that. Okay, where's my undo? Undo. No! Okay, let's try that again. Just click on the first one, hold down delete. See, you're likely to mess up, but things can be easy to sort out. So click on that one, click. What are you doing? I want you to reverse. It just said reverse frame. Oh, whatever. Let's just do this instead. So, no, darn it. I think I'm going to have to do it the stupid way. Oh, great. Okay, let's make this a little bit longer so it's a little bit easier. I do apologize for this. Like I said, there is probably a really easy way to do what I'm doing now, but what are you doing? Move. But I can't think of it right now, and I don't just want to sit here going, what am I doing? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So there we go. We've just got it sinking back down now. Now I could just set the animation speed to random, a minus number up here, so minus 30. Or I saw it say reverse frames, but for some reason it's not letting me do that anymore. Anyway, let's see if this is right, if I've got it in the right order. There we go, that works. Okay, so I do apologize for that. So now what I'm going to do is put that in the same place. That's 640 by 360. Drop that down there. It's quite big. Let's set this to 100 by 100. Yeah, that can work. Why not? Okay, so I've got the ball now, and I'm going to give it a new behavior, and that behavior is going to be bullet. Here we go. Okay, so there we go. What a bullet behavior does, it will move around and bounce off solids. So you say yes to this. And set angle, I do not want the object's angle to rotate, because I mean it's a ball and it's got a shine here and a shadow at the base. So if you've got it rotating all over the place, it will always rotate to the angle which it's going in, and that could look a bit odd. So now I'm going to jump across to the event sheet. We can see up here we've got event sheet 1, which layout 1 is already tied to, so you can see event sheet is using event sheet 1. Blah 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 blah. So click on add event. Okay, and here we can see that we've got our objects there. Now what I tend to do is always say at the start of a level, just in case, I mean you can just disable the layer, but sometimes you want certain things on there. So just for now anyway, start of layout, we want the objects to be invisible. Invisible. Okay, we can go back here, and again we could have just clicked on these boundaries and said initial visibility invisible, but there may be some things I want to appear for now, or just makes things a little bit easier if I've got it in event form. So let's preview this. See if there's anything I've done wrong. No. Yes. For some reason he's gone off. Ah, that was it. Right, so we've got all our objects. What we've forgotten to do is give them the behavior of solid. Okay. So there we go. That's that done. And now we have a bouncing ball. Okay. Does it reach all the way over here? Something like that. Okay, let's give it a... Yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that. Okay, now the initial angle seems a bit like, oh, I don't like that. So what we can do is say, on the start of layout, this ball, set angle to, and then what we can say is random 360. Okay, you say okay to that. Now when we start, so that will pick a random number from 0 to 360. So really, I guess we should say 359, seeing as 0 and 360 are the same. But that's just me being picky. And that hasn't done anything. That's unusual. Oh, of course. Okay, forget that. I've done that wrong. God, this tutorial sucks so far. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Set angle of motion to random 359. Okay, so that's the bullet. Each when you load it up and we open up the ball, it's got all our standard ones. Now, angle was the angle of the actual object. So, you know, I said shadow at the bottom left, highlight at the top right. It would have just set the angle to a random one. So here we can see we've got the bullet behavior because we've given that to it. We've got all the different objects here. So we play that and we've got a nice angle. So that will also clip off these edges. Okay. Now what I tend to do to, where am I? Oh, I'm on my other project. What I tend to do is have, I'll have touch, I'll have mouse, and I'll load up keyboard as well. Okay, then I can test things out. So I say, using the keyboard, upon pressing the key, upon key pressed, space. Okay, now I need to remember what I've called these. Opening. Okay. Set this one's set animation to opening. Okay. So now when I press space, he comes up and does his animation, which is good. Okay, then what I want to do is we have another event which says when this animation has finished, so when opening has finished, another thing which I think I've forgotten to do, this one we want it to loop indefinitely, okay? So what was that called? Opened, I guess. When opening has finished, so what we can do is just copy that event, that action, sorry, post that in there, and we want this to be changed to opened from the beginning. So it will happen anyway, but I just like having a bit more control. Okay, now I'll add another event in which says if the animation is playing opened, rotate clockwise 1 degree. So then when that comes up, he starts spinning. You might be like, well, what's the point in that? But I tend to think it's quite cool. Then you can also, so that's fine for now. You may be wondering, but you'll find out soon enough. Okay, so let's add in our paddles. Okay, so we've got a new layer, opening that up, and we go to our sprites, and we've got these wooden paddles. Let's start off with red versus blue. Okay, scratch that, get rid of that, that's fine. Okay, rotate. Okay, that's pretty big. Obviously we don't need it that big, but the higher the resolution, the easier it is to work off of. So yeah, for construct 2, or maybe construct as well, but construct 2 let's talk about. The initial angle 0 degrees on a compass, or protractor, whatever it's called. What I'm used to is the 0 degrees always being at the top, and 90 degrees would be to the right, but in this program it's 0 degrees is here, 90 degrees is at the bottom, and so forth. Okay, so let's just rotate it this way. Now we want to scale the size down. So what I'll usually do is pull up a calculator, and our height is 634. Let's divide that by 4. Okay, so that's 158, that's fine, so we'll set that as 158. And let's set this to about 25. Okay, so we've got our paddle now. Let's also give this the behavior of solid. Okay, so what was the size again? 158 by 25. 158. Okay, so what am I doing? Give this the behavior of solid as well. Okay, so now, just to see what happens, ball should also bounce off these objects. Okay, that's good. Now what I want to do, I'll just make this a little bit longer. Okay, and give this another behavior, which is going to be 8 direction. Okay? But we do not want it to be able to use all 8 directions, so let's just for now set this to up and down movements. Okay, so now let's see what we can do using our keyboard. Bump, bump. It's a little bit slow, but we've got some sort of movement. So here it comes. Yay! Happy. Great. Now we want this one to have a similar movement. Okay. But obviously we want the computer to be able to play it. Now, what I like about Construct is a lot of the expressions which you can use from within the event sheet. It's quite simple and straightforward. I used other programs where it's a little bit complicated, but on this, very straightforward. So I'll show you a pretty decent one now. You say if... Where's the angle? If the ball is... Let's see. What's going on? No idea what just happened. Hopefully I'm still recording. Am I still recording? Still recording. Computer just decided to blow up on me. Okay, that's odd. Anyway, what I want to do is check this. So we've got our ball. What I like to do is go over here. We can see that where's its current position. So jot that down somewhere, pull up a notepad, and we call this 185. And its lowest position is 5. Let's call it 550 as well. 550. Okay. Delete that. I don't need that anymore. Okay. So then we add in an expression that says if the ball's Y position. I know we want to compare two values. So click on System. Is between values, and we want the value of the ball's Y position, and the lower bound, what was this number which we jotted down? 185. by 550. So this is saying if the position of ball Y is within 185 pixels and 550 pixels, something will happen. So this is if then. Okay, so it's saying, well, you know, at the start of the layout, if the start of the layout is happening, then set the ball invisible, set the angle to random. If the space bar is pressed, then set animation to this. So these are just for fun for the moment, but this is where we're actually getting into the, you know, relatively complicated pieces. So if the ball's position is within this, we want, let's give these player 2, and this one is player 1. Player 1, player 2. So if the ball is there, then we'll set player 2's Y position. Now I'll show you the, you know, straightforward way, which doesn't look very good, and then I'll show you the proper way in a second. So actually I could do it a little bit differently. Doesn't matter. So we want to set the balls, sorry, the Y position of player 2 to the same position as player you know, the ball. Okay, so preview that. You'll understand when you see it. There we go. So it moves, it follows, but you get silly things like that. Look at that. Okay, so I tend not to have that. So what I like to do to make it a little bit more realistic, we add in another, or we change this, and we add in lerp. Okay, now what lerp does is you set a start point, so you can set the lerp means it will move from point A to point B, and you add in a field at the end which says how long it takes to do that effectively. Okay, so point A will be the player 2's current position, so it'll always be processing this, so it'll always be player 2's Y position, and it'll smoothly transition to the position of you know, the ball's Y position. Okay, so we set that as to 0.1. Just get some pretty decent. Now you know, because the games are based on pixels, it will eventually reach the point. In real life, it's calculated by, it moves effectively half the distance each frame. So you know, it'll move 50% towards it, and then it will calculate the distance between it. Then it will move halfway between that. So you get a, you know, a smooth. It will start off fast, slow down. So we get relatively smooth movement. See, it's you know, smoother than it was, let's say, but it's still popping a little bit. So what we want to do is have this happen only when so if it's between here, so if it's the ball is within this range, we want to add another condition. I did that by right clicking on add another condition, and we want to set it so this will happen if the distance, so we open up compare two values, so we say if the distance, click in your system expressions. Okay, we scroll down, look for distance, or you can just type up here distance. Okay, so if the distance, and it will ask you which objects. So we want the distance between, it doesn't really matter which order you do this in, so let's say distance between ball X and ball Y, and it's got X2 this time, and the distance between player 2X and player 2Y is, let's say, less than or equal to how many pixels? Let's say 300 pixels. Okay, so this is saying if the distance between the ball and player 2 is less than 300 pixels and the ball's Y position is here, what it will do, it will try to move to it. Okay, so what this means, it will sit there and do nothing, then when it gets close it will move and try to block it, and then it will stop again. Okay, so here, see, it will No, it won't move because it won't need to. Maybe I should have done a level without those blocks. There we go. See, it's blocked it again. It just makes it a bit more, you know, realistic and believable when you've got a player which can, you know, properly block. Okay. So now what we can do is, well, that's basically the principles of making a Pong game. You then add in your own extra features and so forth. What I had is if this animation opening is playing, this is why I had it originally. Let's see, where's every. Let's add an event and say every 1 second. What we can do is drag this. So if we left click on this, and you can position it now, you can see the arrow, the line going across. If you move over to the right, it can turn into a sub event. Okay, so we're saying if the animation is open playing, every 1 second we want something else to happen. So what we want is this to spawn another object, and we'll have it spawn the ball. And we'll have it spawn on the layer balls. Now, in layer, you can just put in a number, which will be here, C3. Or what I tend to do is give each layer a title, so it's a lot easier to do. So just type in balls. Then if you shift everything around, you don't have to worry about numbers anymore. So let's see what that does. Space, he spins around and then shoots out a ball. But notice he's only ever shooting it in that direction. But we've already got that that command set in there, so what we can do, it will spawn the ball and it will set the angle of motion to a random one. So there we go, just so we can see a bit more movement and so forth. See how many of them he can block. Interestingly, he only seems to care about the initial ball. Interesting. Okay. So what can we do to fix that? We can add in another event which says for each ball, then we grab hold of this event and we do what we just did before, tuck that under, and what it will do is, oh, he just scored against me, well done there. Do that, spawn some balls so we don't have to sit around so long. Hopefully he'll move up and block that. Another one's coming. Oh, he's trying to block them all now, so it gets a bit complicated. But at least he's trying, bless him. There we go, and he'll continually spawn loads of balls. Okay. So there we go, that is the basic idea of how to make a Pong game. So we've got our boundaries, we've got our players, we can add in extra effects, because we've got this so it can be effectively any size. We can have this eventually, say, if you get a pickup, because I mean I've got sprites already set up for the pickups. Where are they? Pickups, and we've got lengthen, multi-ball. So here we go. Add that in. Import frames, let's do that again. Remember to delete the first one. Let's have that loop. Let's set this to 30 again. And we preview that, and we've got a nice little animation going on. Okay, and this can be, you know, bouncing around. When the ball collides with it, these can get bigger or smaller, or an extra ball can be spawned rather than this, you know, skull thing in the center. That's just meant to be, you know, if things get really dangerous, you know, to make the game extra hard. Now that is strange. That just means that I've built it in 3D Studio Max, and I haven't, you know, I usually have to convert all my animations back over to Photoshop and then save them and export them again. So otherwise the colours get a bit messed up. Not sure why. Happens in quite a few programs, so it must be a alpha issue with 3D Studio Max. But anyway, that's the tutorial done. I'm sorry it was so messy and complicated, but some people asked me for things. Oh yeah, and someone else asked me how do I change layout. So let's quickly demonstrate that as well. So let's duplicate this, and what we can do is copy this. So Control A, Control C, add a new event sheet 2, click, and then Control V to paste that in. Now, what I should also show you is quite a useful feature where I create an event sheet and I call this Global Events. Okay, we paste that in there. Now on event sheet 1, what we can do is say include event sheet, and you can tell it to include global events, which means I can then go in and delete all of these. And I can do the same for this one. Let's copy and paste just to speed things up. Then I can click on these, delete that. So we can see our layout 1 is using event sheet 1. I have an email, thank you. Layout 2, okay, so neither of them are using the global events, but because global events is set up to appear in these events, it also keeps your events down. I'm using a total of 9, so I can have, you know, infinite number of levels and it won't repeatedly use events. So then what I can do is preview that, and there we go, it's all working as it should. So again, finally, what I'm going to have is a quick event that says if the ball let's make this a bit more straightforward for now. Let's fill in a green. Where's my fill tool? There it is. Okay, so we've got green here. Okay, so just for now what we're going to do is say, and then on our layout 2 what I'm going to do is make this, just so we can see a difference, 50% opaque. Then we can add an event that says if the ball manages to collide with another object, which is sprite. Again, you can do this many different ways. This is just a straightforward, simple way to get started with. So if the ball collides with this sprite, you can have things like add score 1, or you know, that sort of thing. But what I'm going to do is somebody asked to see it, and we say go to layout, and you tell it to go to layout 2. It's that easy. Okay, so then when we play this game, got a normal one where it's all colourful and whatnot, he'll try and block it. Good, and then he goes and scores against me. Oh no, now it's loaded layout 2. So it's that straightforward. Okay, so yeah, again, I apologise if this was a bit messy and a bit complicated, but if you guys have any further questions, do feel free to post them. I'll do my best to help out if I can. Okay, so thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Bye.